Good morning. Welcome to another rig rundown. This time it's my HZJ77. Basically, it's a stock 1HZ with a 2-inch-ish lift on 33s, front and rear locking axles that are OEM. The 1HZ is powered to a automatic transmission, but this is the setup that we used, or I used, for my trip with the guys down to Colorado, Utah. We covered about 8,000 kilometers over the course of a month. Yeah, let's take a look at the setup. Basically, it's just a very stock car, but trying to incorporate a lot of camper elements, but without having it be too far modified where I can't return it back to stock. So we've got wood wheel, and then we've just got an awning that bolts on to the roof rack. It's a like 4-bar heavy-duty roof rack that mounted a roof box. It's a Pelican case, and it's actually the worst roof box you could possibly use. It's incredibly difficult to unlatch. You have to climb on top of the roof. But moving to the back door, so I actually used to think that I was going to enter through here. So I was like, leave this door open, get quick access to some things, quick access to some bins, but leave the floor space open so I could enter. But then quickly, the area got really dirty with like sand and mud and stuff like that. So I decided that just entering through the driver's seat was going to be the better option. So you'd get in through the driver's seat and then hop on over to the back, like a pass-through in an RV kind of thing. So then I started to populate this area with more bins and stuff like that. So right now it's just kind of standing, like got like charcoal here, and like these 2 bins actually did live behind the seat, and it was just like quick access first aid and yeah, just basically first aid. On this side too, I had the power setup. So here we have a EcoFlow battery. It's actually not fully functioning as it should from EcoFlow themselves. So it's hooked up right now to my own DIY setup, which is just a Renogy boost up charge controller hooked up to a 190 watt solar panel up on the roof. And it's acting as a battery pack that has a inverter on it, and that's about it. Normally it would have its own circuitry where it would actually work with their own solar panel, but I had to make my own setup because this was out of a dumpster. So moving around back, we had only the factory spare tire carrier, and then on that I mounted these fake Max tracks, and we didn't really use these for any amount of recoveries or anything like that. It was just so that we could level the cars when we're pulling up to a campsite. Sometimes we'd grab rocks, sometimes we'd grab other things, but this was always easy to grab and level the trucks with. So opening up, this is just the back setup, and this is kind of where most of the accessibility is important, where the fridge is right here, so you can grab anything. It's a bodega dual zone, but we only used it as a fridge through the whole trip anyways. And then I've got sort of this bin for washing. I've got 10 liters of water, easily accessible. What I'd do is I'd slide it out and you could use it here and dump it all over the bumper. And then the last slot is the chair. So this is a camp chair, so anytime we'd roll up to a site, we just pull it out, and then it's like, if you want to relax, it's right there. The other side of this setup is this drawer slide. So in the back section here, I have all the tools. It was like kind of like filled with M12 stuff because the battery system isn't a 12-volt system. So I didn't have like an onboard compressor. I didn't have like the battery clamp-on compressors because the truck is also 24 volts. So I didn't want to drain both the batteries at a different rate. So I kept the compressor and power tools on a separate system, and I just charge these up and use them as needed. Or I just use the other guys' air compressors because they were there. The back section of this drawer slide is mainly cooking stuff. So it's my butane stove, a bunch of pots and pans and cutlery and spices and seasonings and stuff like that. So in here, basically, I could pull everything out and then slap it on top of this surface, and then cook on here or make coffees and whatever, right? So this was really good, really useful to have. I think it was one of the best additions for the trip. And on the left side, I had a little bit of extra storage. I wanted to keep the space open so that I could access the jack in the stock position. And I would just shove in here like my charcoal grill, anything long. I had like a shovel in there and stuff like that. So this was a pretty good setup for cooking and stuff like that. But whenever we wanted to set up a more long-term camp, we'd actually pull out tables and chairs and everything from the other guys' roof boxes. And then we'd have like, more space and more comfort that way. Lastly, it's just, there's the bed here. This is the bed platform. I keep some of the Reflectex under here. The other Reflectex is on the other side, just stowed away in the window that I can't actually see out of. And then I've got my sleeping bag on top of just a like 4.5-inch foam mattress. And then on top of that, for the cold days, I've got a heated blanket that I power off the battery, the Renogy. And a little bit more of the rear setup, I guess, is just the grab handles we replaced with these stainless steel MOLLE panels, and I hang little pouches from them so that I can easily access little knickknacks like lighters or whatever. And then there's a paper towel roll clipped on top of it, which is pretty good to access when you need it. So on this side, you can see a bit more of the solar panel. I just ran the cables through this rain seal here, and I never really had any issues. But anyways, this is like the front head of the bed section, bed platform. And I had it so that I would store the extra 26 liters of water here. And I didn't have to carry that much water because the other guys had water tanks, and we had a probably combined total of like 140, 180 liters between there. What I did for me is kept my clothes here, and what I would do is I could access it from outside or in, and basically I'd have a big duffel bag underneath the platform and I could slide it in and out. And I kind of kept it so that it wasn't a hard case, so that you could overstuff it and just kind of cram it into all the gaps in there, because this space is kind of like a odd shape. It's like more of like a drop like V notch because of how it's a footwell, and combined with where the old seat used to go, right? So yeah, basically it was just easy access things. Like for outside I have my rain gear, and for inside it was just a duffel bag crammed full of just like day-to-day clothes. So we can go to the front passenger seat. Basically how I had it was, there was a little platform here, and underneath it was just my shoe storage. So I had like boots and shoes and flip-flops under there. And above it, I had a little deck here where it was just camera gear. So camera gear so I could access it from the driver's seat. So I had like the drone, the 1D, the Leica, they were all sitting in these camera bags on here, and I could just grab it and video or take photos from the driver's seat. And then when I went to go to sleep at night, I'm a little bit too tall for the 70. So this seat is all the way forward. I'd have to move the seat forward like this, and then I could get my proper headroom and stretch my whole leg out properly. So, but yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. This is like the simplest setup you could possibly get. Don't really have many complaints about it. It was mainly just that I should have made the first setup where the door behind the driver's seat was just annexed, right? So it was just all storage, hard storage, so that I wouldn't have to enter and exit through there. And then I would have had a lot more storage, or a lot more like tied down bins, basically, because sometimes the stuff would get everywhere when you go wheeling. It wasn't too bad, but that's like the number one thing I'd change for the setup for next time. But yeah, hopefully this preserves the first iteration of this setup. But yeah, that's good for now. Thanks.